So basically, diversification as a risk mitigation tools helps us to protect against any type of risk, including political risk as well.
Hello and a very warm welcome back to Energy Frontiers, coming to you from our studio in Baku, Azerbaijan. Today we're going behind the scenes at the State Oil Fund of the Republic of Azerbaijan, otherwise known as SOFAZ, the sovereign wealth fund which has generated more than $207 billion in revenue since it was established in 1999. But first, here's an overview of how its portfolio is broadening beyond hydrocarbons.
SOFAZ was originally set up to manage Azerbaijan's oil revenues, and in 2025 it pivoted towards sustainable and renewable energy, taking a 49% stake in a 402-megawatt solar-powered portfolio in Italy. SOFAZ's diversification has extended to infrastructure, with an investment of around $66 million in London's Gatwick Airport. And as part of its broader bid to reduce dependence on oil revenues, SOFAZ has rebalanced its asset mix in recent years, increasing its exposure to gold and real estate whilst reducing its holding of bonds. So what does 2026 hold in store for SOFAZ as it continues to diversify its investments and build upon its recent move into European green energy?
Rovchan Javadov, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you for talking to Euronews today.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Let me start by asking you about the record year that you've had. When we look at assets under management, they've increased by $11 billion year on year. What's been driving that growth?
As you mentioned, this year is a record year for us, and assets grew by more than 11 billion so far. And the good thing about it is that 11 billion growth came from basically asset management. So oil and gas inflows, basically we transferred all oil and gas inflows to the state budget, and 11 billion came from our return from asset management, and as well as increase in gold and FX values.
SOFAZ manages around $71 billion across 50 countries globally. How are you making sure that your new foray, your pivot, if we can call it that, into renewables, still supports the national interests and your key economic drivers of oil and gas revenues?
This is a very important question. Our global strategy has to always serve Azerbaijan's long-term interests as well. So our modern oil and gas strategy was shaped by, under the leadership of Haydar Aliyev, our national leader, in early 1990s. So the idea was clear: to manage oil and gas reserves wisely and responsibly. And it consisted of three pillars. First pillar was about attracting international partners and investment to Azerbaijan. The second pillar was about building secure export routes. And the third pillar was about saving some oil and gas revenues for future generations. SOFAZ was created as a part of the third pillar. Our main goal is to transform depletable oil and gas reserves into long-term financial strengths for the country. We do it by investing these revenues outside of Azerbaijan and creating stable cash flows. As for renewables, this is part of our investment strategy as well. They offer sometimes good and sometimes predictable and stable future cash flow. They help us to reduce risk in terms of oil price volatility. Our strategy is to diversify our investment portfolio, and investments in renewables plays an important role in this strategy.
Sticking with the energy weighting of your fund, but moving beyond your recent investments in solar in Europe, where else do you see as particular areas of investment and growth next year? Looking at hydrogen, batteries, infrastructure, transportation, logistics, or something else?
We invest in digital infrastructure, we invest in network, we invest in new technologies. Some of them are mature and provide stable cash flows, some of them new and with more growth prospects. But combining them helps us to build more resilient and stable portfolio. So for us, the most important thing is to protect nations' wealth, and it's more important than betting on any single sector.
COP30 emphasised the need for all major pools of capital to come together to help close the climate finance gap. Sovereign wealth funds are in a unique position because globally they manage more than $12 trillion. You're in a great position too, and you've started to move in that direction. But what more could you do? How about partnership with multilaterals? What about being an anchor investor?
We fully support a global push to close climate finance gap, especially in emerging markets. And to do so, we also partner with major international players, including multilaterals. And we have partnership with International Financial Corporation, IFC. We have partnership with EBRD. And in terms of climate investments, we invest together with IFC in the climate-related fund. And we are happy to continue doing so, and we are happy to be anchor investor in climate finance. The only requirement is that any project has to be in line with our risk-return profile.
You're strengthening your strategic partnerships across many regions, expanding in North America, Europe, Asia, and indeed the Middle East. How do you protect those new investments, especially from political or regulatory risks and exposure, not least in Europe, where European energy policy continues to evolve at pace?
Risk management has always been at our, has always been central to our investment decision process, and we have several risk mitigation tools. First of all, of course, we have investment guidelines and risk limits we adhere to. We have strict due diligence process. Our investment risk compliance legal team has to go through strict due diligence process and look at different types of risk. Another risk mitigation tool for us is, of course, diversification. Our investments are spread across different asset classes, across different sectors, different countries, different regions. You mentioned Europe. In Europe, we follow regulation and legislations, and of course, all these risk management tools helps us to protect the fund and also to be able to see and invest in different opportunities globally.
We have to leave our conversation there, but Rovshan Javadov, thank you very much for speaking to me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Energy Frontiers, and indeed it's the end of this series. I very much hope you enjoyed it, and for all of the episodes, just head to euronews.com. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.